all those stick figures. Your patient, whatever, a patient would be like a character. You excuse my drawing. Patient would be like a character that's walking through a story, so walking through a forest or some kind of background. And every time that they do something favorable, they walk to a certain point in that story. So this is T1 to T0 to T1, so they did something favorable. If they don't do anything favorable, then they just stand still, or they don't see anything, experience or anything. And then for the next second, so we're moving on to T3, then they're moving right along in the story. And with this, so for each one, this is T0, this is T1 and T2. The person didn't move because they had unfavorable. T3, they moved right along. And with the story, every time they do something favorable, they could maybe see something like a bunny rabbit or something like that come onto the screen. Whereas if they don't do anything favorable, the character just stops, or they're just seeing the same background. And in this story, their journey is to get to some kind of destination at the end. But there are ways that you can measure it. Like, for instance, if this is patient 1, their story may look like this, where they're stagnant right here. Patient 2, and I'll draw another one for patient 2, T0, T1, T2, and T3. So for patient 2, they may be favorable the entire time, so you can measure the differences in the length, like they get to it a little bit faster. And then just something like that. We're just thinking of some kind of story that they could get to some kind of destination, but you just walk along.
Thoughts? Or, yeah, round of applause first. Thoughts?
It kind of reminds me of the game in Ender's Game that he has to play, and where like eventually you hit the point of the game, like everybody reaches this impossible task, and like you have to choose to like you either if you can't choose to not kill the giant, so you have to kill the giant for that to be the favorable task. That's the only way you could win the game. It requires an abstract step of logic to actually do that.
I've never seen Ender's Game.
It's a book.
Or it's a book. Okay, I've never read it. Anybody else know Ender's Game? You've heard of it?
It's like when you just drive along or you sit in a train and you just look out the window and the landscape changes. So it's very similar to that, and you wouldn't have people involved, but you would just, your picture would just roll to the side slowly. And that would also be relatively easy to manipulate.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. And if we're doing something like that, then if it's like a scene that we can bring different things into, I like that idea, because if you have different stimuli that you can bring into this ambiance, that is, so your baseline signal is the ambient environment. So like, you want to keep it sunny, you have the right brain activity. It starts to rain, you have brain activity you don't want. But if we want to see that, we want to co-correlate that with some sort of frequency, then that's when the bunny comes in. Things like that. That makes it really easy to scale that and build different functions into. That would be cool.
Nice. Awesome. Well done.